When you think of rockets or jet engine propulsion, your first thought is likely of a fighter plane soaring overhead. However, this technology has also seen interest from designers for vehicles which seek to remain on the ground instead of taking to the skies. Today, we will look at some of the real-world examples of this concept, as well as one vehicle so utterly insane it could only exist in a video game. Before we look at the fictional example of a rocket-propelled tank, let's take a few moments to consider the real-world implementations of this idea. Probably the most well-known of these are the Soviet projects, although other nations played with this idea as well. I plan to cover these in a video of their own someday, but sadly I can only find a small amount of info about them. A vast majority appear to have been done as a method of assisting the tank through soft or muddy terrain, as shown in this short clip. Armored Archives also mentioned to me that the British tested one intended to assist with getting out of rivers. With so little known about most of these attempts to use rockets, I can't say for certain why each failed, but we can safely assume they were deemed unnecessary or the extra weight they added to the vehicle literally outweighed their usefulness. Regardless of what we in the real world may have thought about jet propulsion for tanks, Panzer Front has no such qualms. Previously, we looked at this game's E-79 tank, which has unintentionally become a vehicle some people genuinely believe to be a real design. Among the other ridiculous designs in the game, we find this vehicle, possibly the most absurd tank destroyer I have ever seen. Being propelled by two massive jet turbines, the Aureole blasts across the battlefield at speeds of up to 60 kilometers an hour with its 8.8cm L100 cannon and MG34 machine gun. Why exactly a German tank has the French word for halo as its name is as confusing as the rest of this vehicle's design. The speed this tank destroyer can manage is impressive, given it also boasts fairly thick armor with 130mm at the front sloped heavily. Coming in at 9.6 meters long, 2.9 meters wide, and 1.7 meters tall, this puts the Aureole at roughly the same size as the Su-100, being slightly shorter than that. Along the side, it also features angled skirts to protect from anti-tank rifles, but with massive gaps between the plates, which sort of eliminates most of the protection it provides. Some sites list another variant of this tank with a 75mm gun, but I am not entirely sure where this comes from, as in-game it is listed as an 88. Maybe another version of the game has a slight alteration to it, so let me know if you are aware of where that came from. In-game, this tank destroyer is a speedy, hard-hitting vehicle which, like many real-world tank destroyers, is quite weak from the sides. Personally, I found it hilarious to play, but a bit hard to control once you get it up to speed. If we were to pull the tank into the real world though, it quickly starts to become crushed beneath a variety of issues. One of the main ones I see is the height of the vehicle. With such a short stature, no doubt the crew compartment would be incredibly cramped before we even consider the massive turbines in the rear of the vehicle. The issue of crew comfort can and has been overlooked in real tank designs, but the same cannot be said for the bizarre propulsion method. I suppose you could argue modern tanks do actually use turbines, so it isn't entirely unrealistic. Using a turbojet-style engine in a tank is something entirely different though, and would probably use up the entire fuel supply which could be carried inside within an extremely short time. Even if we disregard all these issues, I still wonder what real-world application this tank would have. Perhaps it would be able to act similarly to something like the American M18 Hellcat, allowing it to rapidly respond to enemy attacks. This would be at odds with how German tank destroyers were traditionally designed, as their intended use was more for ambush and infantry support. Overall, the Aureole is an interesting look at a what-if sort of tank that really wouldn't be practical, especially during World War II, and especially for the Germans. I'm certainly interested to see what your takes on this particular vehicle are, so let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Huge thanks as always to my channel members for supporting my content, as well as things like my website, ConeOfArc.com. I really do appreciate every penny of the money I receive each month from you all. That's it for this video though, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, consider checking out one of the videos popping up on your screen now, or the full Fake Tank Friday playlist, which I will link below. Choose wisely.